Hello, I'm Chief Warrant Officer 4 Vic Pinion, U.S. Navy, retired, telling my sea stories that occurred during the course of my naval career. Well, I'm talking about while I was stationed aboard the Naval Air Station, Lakehurst, New Jersey, at the Naval Air Test Facility in the early 1960s decade. Well, I just told about my son Ron being born. I told about some food items that we did, some recipes, and we really enjoyed Ron. Ron was just a delight. He was our firstborn son, loved him to pieces and still do. But she became pregnant with our son Tom, probably as soon as she could. But this story is about Tom's birth. Same story. I'm still at Lakehurst. The Navy still doesn't support Navy young sailors having families. And they wouldn't let me arrange in advance to get time off when my wife called when she went in labor. And sure enough, when Tom was born, I got put on a report again. But my chief and division officer got the chit put. In any case, she called, and I was going to take her to the Toms River Hospital in Toms River, New Jersey. She was in labor, and I took her to the hospital. And she got there, and they took her in, examined her. But during this era, they wouldn't let the husbands go in with their wives. I had to wait out in the waiting room. So I kept inquiring, and they kept telling me, oh, she's resting comfortably. You may as well go home. It's probably false labor. Well, I'd left Ron with the next door neighbor, and I'm a little concerned about Ron. And I kept inquiring about Lynette, though, and oh, she's resting comfortably. It's probably false labor. You may as well go home and come back and get her tomorrow morning. We'll just keep her here for observation tonight. So finally, at 9 p.m., I checked on her one last time. Still, they wouldn't let me go in and see her. So I went home. And I picked Ron up at the neighbor's house and took him to the house. And next morning, I'm going to go in at about 9 and pick Lynette up and bring her home. But I prepared breakfast the next morning. And one of Ron's favorite breakfasts, now he's only a year old, just barely a year old, 11, my goodness. 13 months old. But one of his favorite breakfasts that Lynette used to fix him was Maypole's. It was a maple flavored oatmeal. So I fixed him a bowl of Maypole. And he grabbed a bite of it with his little hand, put it in his mouth, spit it out, picked his bowl up and turned it upside down on his head. Well, that was him telling me his opinion of the Maypole I'd fixed for him. So I cleaned him up and took him over to the neighbor's house. And I went in to pick Lynette up. And when I went in and inquired, they said, congratulations, Mr. Pinion. You're the son of a... And told me all about Tom's weight and length. And born at 9 p.m. last night. And that pissed me off. That's last time I inquired about. She was in the delivery room having Tom when they told me she was resting comfortably and I may as well go home. I was angry about that. In any case, I asked her, well, was she, is she all right? Can I go? No, she's taking a shower. I said, my goodness. She just had a baby at 9 last night and she's already up taking a shower? Yes, she's doing fine. So, I went and saw Tom, and there he was, kicking his little feet, waving his little hands, happy little baby. Beautiful baby. You know, Tom's still beautiful. He's a handsome young man. Well, he's not so young, he's middle-aged, but he's still a handsome man. I still love him to pieces. And all three of my kids, I love them to pieces. In any case, when I finally got in to see Lynette, she says, okay. But now I'm going to tell another back up to Ron being born. Lynette had always given me these loving looks, and I just loved it to pieces. She was nursing Ron when I arrived at the hospital the second day after Ron was born. And she was looking at him, giving him the most loving looks. And I had the worst pang of jealousy I can imagine. And I told Ron that, and Lynette and I talked about that once in a while. But, it didn't diminish my love for Ron, but boy, here's my wife giving somebody else a loving look like she did me. And I was just jealous. Okay, that's the end of that.